So we'll go back to the main page, the main website. So we've looked at the candidate preparation toolkit, and we've looked at the official guide and the question tutorial and nets. And now it's time to look at the actual test questions. So again, on preparation, it should tell you preparing for the test. We go back to preparing for the test. I highly recommend using this opportunity to test your concentration, and of course, after practicing your maths, practicing your quantitative reasoning, verbal reasoning on paper or wherever else you've been looking at and practicing off the book. There is a book as well out there. Definitely go try it out on here. This is going to be the closest to what the real UKCAT experience will be like. There is an untimed version, and definitely have a go at that so that you can practice every single question. The more questions you practice, the better you're going to get at it. There is also timed segments. I would say go through all of them. Practice as many times as possible and get as much practice as you can. You want to maximize your chances, you need to practice, and practice makes perfect. But remember, now let's actually have a look at a question paper, for example. So this is what's telling you, essentially, this is a warning screen. So the minute you press this screen, your test will begin. This is again an instruction page, and it usually is timed. There is, it tells you exactly how many items there are and how much time you get for each segment. So we will skip through this. Non-disclosure agreement, this is what it will look like. And again, it gives you a warning in case you have pressed this by accident. It gives you a warning that you're about to begin the exam. So if I press yes, this will take me on to the next questions. This gives you again a little instruction on the particular segment you will be doing, and it tells you that you have 21 minutes to complete 44 items. So we'll click next to go on to the first question. And right here we have the first question. So you're supposed to read this segment here and read this quickly and carefully and remember it. Of course, they will have this for every single screen, but the more you can remember the information from this segment, the better you're going to be at answering these questions. You can flag over here, right here, you can flag a question so you can come back to it. If you think that your answer, you're not feeling quite sure about it, flag this so you can come back to it later. Now I'll just press a random answer. I'll just press NA right now. I will just press in random anything right now, and I'll just go through it. And I can just press next without answering these questions too if I feel I don't want to. There is a calculator here on the left as well, but this probably you won't need. This is onto a new question now. There's usually about 4 questions per scenario. So again, new scenario, I believe. So we're just skipping through this. And we just skip through all 44 like this. You have not viewed all the information on this screen. Please scroll down. So it's telling me this is a warning screen, which is telling me that I haven't looked at this properly. So I'm just going to click OK. And here it is. Remember, you can only do the test once per year. So there's usually not a chance to redo a test. Your first sitting counts. And they are quite an expensive test, so I wouldn't recommend retaking anyway. But it's good if you're in year 11 now or year 12 perhaps, it's worth perhaps doing the test. So we'll skip through this. It's just telling me random stuff just to scroll through this stuff. So we're actually on question 42 of 44 right now. So I haven't answered any of these questions. So as you can see, this flags up any questions that you've left incomplete and also what you've flagged on the left over here. So you can always go back to it, and you can actually click on these questions to go back to these exact questions. If you want to just have a look, just have a feel of the questions before you go back to seeing the questions. Remember, this is only going to make this process longer. If you get to this end screen and have to go back to each question, I would say do it chronologically as possible. So as you can see, that's all the questions. What we will do, we've finished before time, but we're going to skip forward. We can review all if you want, review incompleted, and then review the flagged, and it will take you in chronological order back to where you want to be as well. Or you can always click on the questions individually. End review, and it tells you you've chosen to end the current review, but have 14 complete questions. So it gives you a warning warning window if you haven't done as they would expect you to do. And it also tells you, are you sure you want to end this review in case you've done it by accident? So you press yes again, and you've skipped forward to the next bit, which is the decision-making instructions window. Again, we will go through this really quickly. Yes or no is the answer. These are the questions. As you can see, you can put the answers in the box. Yes, yes, no, yes, no. So I can just skip to the next. I can always just flag this, skip to the next question. I can skip all through these questions, and this is one of those questions, multiple choice. You can press either one, so we'll press B, and we'll skip. Again, any of this, which shape, this is kind of similar to the abstract reasoning. It's a lot of shapes and stuff. So it tells you which shape will make the last equation true. Again, work something out, and we'll just click on this. Click next. Again, click next, next, next. So it's telling you again that you've not viewed the full information. It's giving you a warning in case you've pressed this by accident. So only when you've scrolled down will it let you skip through. So we're going to skip this as well. Skip this, skip this, skip this, skip, 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 skip. Again, because I didn't scroll down, it came up with that window. And now we're on to the quantitative reasoning segment. Again, it's got all your instructions on the first screen, and this is what the question would look like. Multiple choice as usual. You've got the problem at the beginning, and then it gives you a solution, and you have to essentially choose an answer. If you can see, there's a calculator on the left, top left. Most of these questions will require you to use the calculator, but it helps if your mental math skills are on par, so you can get through these questions really quickly without having to tediously type things into the calculator. This calculator is also something to get used to because it's really quite an old-fashioned, you have to click each number. I found that quite difficult to work with. So one thing I would like to mention is the fact that, all these options are very closely, they don't give an obvious wrong answer. So that obviously it takes you, you can't just guess and, work by eliminations. It makes it harder for you in a sense. So here we're on to the last screen again. The review screen. We're just going to skip through this and get onto the easy part, the abstract reasoning segment. So as you can see, we've got 1 minute here. You want to utilize this 1 minute fully, utilize it, relax, take a little break, drink some water if you may. I would advise get some water with you before you even come into the test, because then you've got it right there. Use the full minute. I'm not going to do that. So here we've already looked at these. This is the most fun segment, as already mentioned. So it's worth, relaxing and really enjoying this segment because it's like a puzzle. And in fact, if you're good at doing puzzles, you might be really good at this segment. So, use this opportunity. I, for one, scored maximum on this. I think I scored almost full marks on this, in fact. it gives you one set and another set, and it gives you the option of set A, B, or neither. And you'll see plenty of such questions, as you can see. And we can always go back to the review screen and have a look at all the questions that we flagged or were incomplete. So we'll end this review and move on to the next bit, which is situational judgment. Again, situational judgment presents you with a scenario, and it tells you in the order of very appropriate thing to do, appropriate but not ideal, inappropriate but not awful. So this is what it tells you. This is the scenario it tells you. So on the left, it tells you the scenario, and then it gives you a solution to that scenario, and it asks you whether this is the most appropriate thing to do, or whether this is appropriate in some cases but not ideal. So you're supposed to select one of these. Remember, you have to think like a doctor or a medical professional. Things to consider would be putting the patient first and always doing the most noble thing. If you think a colleague is being unprofessional, if their behavior is something that can harm the patient, always think about the principles, the main principles that non-maleficence, beneficence, justice. So you want to make sure that the patient is always central. Also the well-being, the mental and physical well-being of your colleagues. So this tests your idea of the principles, the main principles in medicine, which is non-maleficence, beneficence, justice, autonomy, and confidentiality. Another type of a question which asks you to rate the solution in order of importance. So testing your prioritizing skills. What do you think? Would you be able to make the right decision, but not just the right decision, making the decision in order? If you have to make several decisions in a go, can you make the decisions in order of priority? This also tests, as I said, the 5 principles: confidentiality, autonomy, non-maleficence, beneficence, and justice. And that's it, guys. So now you can just end review, and this is the last segment of the test. So you can just press yes, and this just tells you how many questions you got incorrect. This is your final answer review screen. It tells you, this is your mark scheme essentially. This is the screen that tells you how many you got correct and how many you got incorrect. So as you can see on the abstract reasoning, we actually got 3 questions correct, even though we didn't complete most of these questions. If you press this over here, it tells you this little plus sign over here. It tells you how many you got incorrect, which questions you got correct, and then you can even go back to that question and see what that question was, just to see what you got incorrect or correct. And it also gives you the opportunity to explore what the true answer would be. So if you press explain answer, it tells you the explanation for the answer, what the correct answer is, and why set A or set B or whatever the question was, whatever the options were, why it wouldn't be that. So you can again go back to your review screen over here, and in the verbal reasoning as well, if you press this this little button over here, you can go back to that question and explain answer, and it tells you the explanation as well. So use this opportunity to learn, at least if it's your first time trying this test out, this entire exam out, what they're looking for and how to actually score better. So go look for the explanation of all the correct and incorrect answers, just so you get a good idea. We'll go back to the review screen now, and that's it. We can in fact end review right here. If you press yes, that's it. Tells you that you've completed the UKCAT practice questions. And if you click on the end exam button over here on the left, you can end the exam. And it takes you back to the main screen again. So that was it, guys. This was just a quick run through of the UKCAT, the website, as well as the tests and what they look like. Thank you very much, guys. Make sure you subscribe and like, comment and share. Press that bell icon so you can keep up with this series, which is essentially called Medic Life. Don't forget, as part of this test, you want to be doing as much practice as possible and get on the bandwagon before everybody else. Good luck, guys. Mwah. Bye-bye.